live from the Blackbird Studios in sunny North Cambridge. It's the Rave X 10-minute podcast. And now, he's not really part of the Black Lives Matter movement. He just goes there to meet the chicks. Rave X.
Oh, come on. That's not right, Team Money. I don't know. Is that cool?
Dude, that's all balls.
All right, we'll go with it. My name's Rave X. Thanks for tuning in to the Rave X 10-minute podcast. We get a lot to cover, and time is short. A lot of talk in the news about, people of color, black men getting harassed and unfortunately shot by white cops. It's been kind of a thing lately. And by lately, I mean like 100 and something years. But we're not going to solve it today on this dumb podcast. Unfortunately, your boy Rave had an experience of his own that I wanted to share with people, and then we can discuss it. So, a couple of weeks ago, I leave work, like I do every day, and I'm waiting for the bus out there on Mass Ave. I'm leaning against the wall, listening to my headphones on. My Beats by Rave headphones, Bluetooth, wireless, get 'em. And I'm minding my business, man. You know, it's about 6:15 in the afternoon. I'm doing my thing. Anyway, cop goes past me on a bike. I don't think anything of it because I'm not doing anything. A couple minutes later, cop turns around, goes past me on his bike again. I'm just thinking he's just doing his job, biking around. Then he comes back, and I look, and he's standing right in front of me on his bike. I've got my back against the wall, and he starts talking, and I got my headphones on, so I pull out my headphones, and I go, what's going on? And he just starts asking me random questions like, hey, man, what's up? Just want to come over and talk to you, see how you're doing. And I'm looking at this guy, who for now we're going to call Mr. Crooked Officer. Maybe I'll give his name, because he did give me his name. Maybe I'll throw that out there on Front Street. And he starts asking me, hey, man, you work around here? And, he's making small talk, and he's trying to be very hey, what's up? How you doing, buddy? Just wanted to come talk to you. And he says, I'm looking at what you're wearing, and it looks like a military thing, because, my job gives me a uniform. Well, the pants look like a military uniform. It's got a red stripe down the leg, which I've been told was what the Marines wear, and that's fine. I didn't pick it out. I don't want to wear that anywhere. And he says, you ever serve any time in the military? And I said, no, I've never served any time in the military. And he says, really? Because I'm looking at you, man, the way you carry yourself, the way you're looking around at everything. I bet you served time in the military. And I said, nope. If I did, I would have remembered, and I haven't. And he says, okay, man, I just want to come up and talk to you. And then he leans in and he says, you know why I noticed you? And I said, no. And he said, your posture. Now, I didn't hear this, so I had to kind of replay it in my brain. And I said, my posture? And he goes, yeah, man, you're standing straight as a board, man, and you got them pants on, looks like Marine pants. I said, this guy's been in the military. Let me go talk to him. Now, I don't know. This is all bullshit, right? This is all bullshit. And I said, oh, yeah, my posture. Okay, I'm standing straight, I guess. But do most people slouch? I thought we're supposed to stand up straight, whatever. And he leans in, and he says, let me ask you a question, man. You got any weapons on you right now? Now, at this point, I'm giving you the fast version. At this point, we're standing there for what seems like about 5 minutes, and he's asking me questions. Where do you work? Where you coming back from? And the whole time he's doing it, he's got this smile on his face like, hey, man, we're just a couple of people who are talking. Now, I feel kind of cornered, right? I got my back against the wall. He's on a bike. He's standing about 1.5 feet from me. There's no place for me to go. I'm starting to feel like a caged, cornered animal now. And he asked me if I had any weapons on me. And I kind of froze. And I'm like, all right, I know what's going on now. Mr. Crooked Officer, right? White guy, Mr. White Crooked Officer. So he's the only minority-type person at the bus stop. Now, the bus stop had about 5 white people. There were 2 Asian people there. A guy and a girl, and we're all waiting for the bus, man, going to do our thing. And he comes right up to me, where you coming back from, what are you doing? Now, when he asked me if I had any weapons on me, that's when shit got real. Now, I just bought a big, dumb Galaxy Note phone, and it's huge. It's like the size of a piece of toast. It's this big, long, dumb phone. And I had it in my right pocket. And he kind of points down to my right pocket and says, I see that bulge in your pocket there, and the way you have your shirt untucked over it usually means someone has a weapon on them. Wow. Kids, this is serious, right? So your boy Rave made what could have been a very fatal mistake, and has been fatal, unfortunately, for other people. But you know, in these situations, you're not thinking about, am I about to get shot in the mouth waiting for the bus? So I reach back. I reach back to just reach into my pocket and show him that it was just a phone. And let me tell you something. I kid you not. This guy, BPD, Mr. Crooked Officer, he reaches back with his right hand and he puts just his thumb on the handle of his 9mm. Just his thumb. He didn't grab it. He didn't panic and reach for it real quick. He didn't push me against the wall and say, hey there. And when I saw him put just his thumb on his 9mm, wow. Let me tell you, man, I realized that I was in the thick of it now. I was now part of these stories you hear of minorities just hanging out doing nothing, getting harassed by Mr. Crooked Officer. And I froze. And he looked dead at me, man. He was serious. And I said, it's just a phone. And I raised my right leg up so we could see the sort of impression, you know, from my pants, that it was clearly just a big, dumb, square phone. And he slowly took his thumb off the handle of his 9mm, and I slowly reached into my pocket with my leg raised up so he could see that it wasn't a gun. And I pulled out my phone, and I showed it to him. And I said, it's just a phone. And I put the phone back in my pocket. Now, at this point, kids, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know if 5 other cops are going to converge on the location. I don't know if this guy's called backup because he thinks I'm some military guy who's got a gun in his pocket and is just waiting for, I don't know what he thought was going to happen. Like, maybe he thought in my head it was like, if this bus is another minute late, I'm going to shoot someone. No, I'm just waiting for the bus listening to something off the goddamn Far Beyond Driven album. So anyway, I show him it's just a phone. He then is relieved, and I could see the physical change. He goes, all right, man, you know, I just wanted to come talk to you, man. And he reaches his hand out to shake my hand, and he says, he says his name. Hey, kids, should I say his name on the podcast? You know what? Fuck him. His name was Kevin Sullivan, BPD. Mr. Crooked Officer, Kevin Sullivan. And he puts out his hand, and he says, hey, man, Kevin Sullivan, BPD, just want to come up and talk to you. And he puts his hand out. Now I'm like, look, man, I really don't want to stop being a dick to this guy, because here's the thing. You can't win against the cops, and this is where I think a lot of people go wrong. Because they have a little radio on their side where they can call like 100 more of them dumb motherfuckers with guns and sticks and pepper spray, and you will not win against the cops. The time to fight the cops, unfortunately, is in the courtroom or with your cell phone camera. Now, I thought about all these things, like what's going to happen now? Should I pull out my cell phone and start recording this? So I shook his hand, and he says to me, hey, man, I didn't get your name. And I think this was like the second time he actually asked me what my name was. I didn't give him my fucking name because I don't have to. I'm an American. I have to give you my name. What the fuck are you doing? You're bothering me right now. This is police harassment. Not brutality, because they didn't beat me up. Although I could see in his eyes that he wanted to. Yeah. So he asked me my name, and I said, I didn't give it. And he's like, well, Kevin Sullivan, BPD. And I said, okay. And he's like, all right, man, well, take care of yourself, and, just want to come up and talk to you. And then he takes off. And then reality sets in. Because all the people at the bus stop now turned and looked at me like, what did this guy do? Is this guy a criminal? Should we be afraid of this guy? What's going on here? And, man, I'm not going to lie to you, kids. I felt like a fucking criminal. I just got harassed by a white cop on a bike while I was coming back from my job and was asked, do you have any weapons on you? Oh, it wasn't good. So that's my story. It's not as, horrible as some of these horror stories that we are hearing about. And luckily, he didn't mistake me for someone else and just come up with the pepper spray and the taser and beat me into the ground. But God, man, it was the beginning of that, right? All these things begin with a, hey, man, can I talk to you for a second? And then it's kind of up to you to see where you're going to take it, Now, Now, when he came up to me, I could have said, hey, fuck you, I'm waiting for the bus, get the hell away from me. But then you escalate the situation. And what I want to talk about now is, you know, you hear these things on the news and on the radio and in the newspapers. You hear a lot of people saying, hey, man, it's open season on black men. And these cops are looking to just kill black men in the streets. That's what they're doing. And you see these signs that are, stop killing our black men in the streets. And look, it happens, man. You know, your boy Rave always says this, reality on reality's terms. So when someone says, this stuff doesn't happen, well, you know what? It does. It just does. The reasons why are far more complex than we have time to get into. So I'm just giving you my perspective, and you might disagree with me, you might agree with me 100%. Are cops racist? Well, here's the thing. The answer is yes, first of all. But here's the thing. Cops are racist because they were racist people. Are there racist doctors? Sure, because they're racist people. Are there racist firemen? Sure, yeah, absolutely, because they're racist people. Whether or not they become cops, doctors, firemen, whatever. Also, a lot of these cops, just like this cop here, by the way, Kevin Sullivan, BPD. A lot of these cops here, they serve time in the military, and then they come back and they need a job, and they look at that military experience as this guy would be great as a police officer, serve the public. But here's the thing, kids. Being in the military and being a cop are two different things. So this guy's over there in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all of these places, these countries where they could literally die with every step they take. They could step on an IED. They could be a sniper shooting down on the military, and it's happened. I have friends in the military, and they've told me horror stories. Trust me, horror stories. So these guys, when they're in the military and they're over there in Pakistan or wherever, when they walk up to someone and talk to them, this guy could have like a suicide vest under his thing, right? Or an RPG hidden under his whatever, or a bomb or a grenade or an AK-47 trained on him. And that's a very real thing when you're in the military and you're over there willing to give your life for the country. And that's no joke. That's a shoot. That's a straight shoot. But then these cops come back and they're patrolling the city. And they're still in that soldier mind mentality. And that's how they approach things. And it's not like these people become a cop and they become racist. Cops, a lot of cops, not all the cops, 'cause I don't want to get your hate mail, but my dad's a cop and he's a good man. I believe it. Sure. Okay. Cops are amped up. They're stressed the fuck out. They're probably working 12 hours a day for not enough money. They're constantly trying to just talk to people, and people are saying, hey, fuck you, Mr. Crooked Officer. So these cops are amped up and pissed off, and I don't even know the word for it, right? And they're waiting for something to happen. And who knows, you know, a lot of these cops, they might have a bad day at home or a bad day on the job. And I don't think that most of these white officers who do end up shooting and killing a person of color, I don't think they woke up that day saying, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Some little black niggling is going to come out their mouth sideways to me and I'm going to fucking kill him. Because their life is never the same as well. You know? And we've seen videos, and look, kids, I'm not saying that none of this stuff happens, and I'm not saying this stuff happens all the time. But when a white cop shoots and kills anybody, that's a horror show for them. They took a life. And that's not something that I think they go back and start high-fiving people. Oh, yeah, I fucking killed this N-word. Blah, 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 blah. It's a tough one, man. This is a tough one. Now, I do think that white cops get intimidated by black men. It's been that way forever. I remember seeing something from like the 30s or the 40s. Might have been, I don't know, before that. When black people were starting to integrate in the cities and stuff, and white people were scared to death. And they had like this, I don't know, like not like a public service announcement, but something that came out that they were trying to tell everyone, all the white people, watch out for these cocaine-crazed Negroes. That's what they said. Google it. Oh, by the way, Cocaine Crazed Negroes, great band. I saw them at Lollapalooza in 1991. Great band. They opened for the Rollins Band. But yeah, and they were kind of telling the people in the white community, these black people, these Negroes, the men, they're all amped up on drugs and cocaine. It was around like the reefer madness time. And they got into people's head. These cocaine-crazed Negroes, man, they're coming for your white girls and your white women, and you got to hide them. And the thing is, that gets passed down from great-grandfather to grandfather to father. And when you grow up in a house where you're constantly being told by your old racist grandpa, Jebediah, black men are horrible, man. They're violent. They do this. They do that. They're fucking amped up on drugs, and they're going to fuck your white women and blah, blah, blah. And then you go into the military, and your brain gets reconditioned to have a hair trigger. And then you get out, and then you become a cop. And then you see things on TV like black guy broke into a house, killed the people. Black guy did this and did that. Now you're on the beat, and you ask a black man, hey, come here, can I talk to you for a second? And he says, fuck you. All that shit, that systemic racism, comes to the forefront. And now these cops, they have a gun strapped to their fucking hip, and it's only a matter of time before they can't take it, and they pull out that gun, and they're looking at a black dude as a threat. You know, and look, no one's innocent in this, right? Because, and here's the thing where I'm going to lose some of you, and that's okay. African American males make up about 8% of the population. And this is true. It's a fact. You can Google it. But out of that 8% comes a large number of criminal convictions. So when these cops every day, you know, they're busting people, and they're seeing that the majority of the people that they might be busting, depending on where you live, obviously if you live in Beverly Hills, you're not going to be busting a lot of minorities. But when you're in the inner city and you're patrolling Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, I believe that these cops developed a bit of contempt for African Americans. Because if you've ever gone through parts of Dorchester, parts of Mattapan, they're not great places to live. Now, I'm not saying this from some, hypocritical way. I grew up in some parts of Dorchester and Roxbury and Mattapan. I grew up in the projects for some of the time until we got our shit together. And you see a lot of black-on-black crime. Now, it's a bigger conversation. We're not going to go there today. Maybe we will. So, bringing it all back around again, you've got a cop, he's amped up, he's ready to go. He's got a gun strapped to his hip. Maybe he's been hearing, like I said, from his father and grandfather about how horrible black people are. Now you get a black person who just tells this cop to go fuck himself. Well, this dude is ready. He's ready with the nightstick, he's ready with the tear gas, the taser, and unfortunately, the gun. So, what can be done about this? Well, here's the thing, man. If a cop stops you and starts asking you questions, politely answer his questions and just get him the fuck on his way. Because every time you escalate it, they escalate it. And like I said, unfortunately, on the streets, you cannot win against the cop. You fight him in court, pull out your cell phone, record it, whatever. You don't have to give him your name unless he says you're under arrest. You don't have to tell him where you're going, and you don't have to tell him where you're coming from. Now, if he stops you and says, you fit the description, you can say, what's the fucking description? Black dude in a hat because you got me? No, I'm joking. That's a bad joke. But be polite, do whatever they say, and you know what? Deal with it in a courtroom. Because it's not worth it for you to get shot, and these cops will fucking shoot you. We've seen it. And I know it's intimidating. You feel horrible. You feel cornered. They're telling you, keep your hands where I can see them and don't fucking go anywhere and let me see some ID and blah, 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 blah. Don't give in to it and don't get shot. Stay alive. Come back home alive. They want to go home alive, but they've got a gun. We're waiting at the bus stop and we want to go home too. So anyway, that's that, man. We only scratched the surface, and this is a deep, deep conversation. Hopefully the next couple of Rave X podcasts, we're going to get a lighter thing. Keep it light, talk about some fun stuff. But I just want to thank everyone for going to the YouTube channel, Rave X Music. We get a lot of great things there, man. We got all the songs from Rave X Volume 5. We've got Black Sea. We've got Backstabber. Oh, appropriate for what's going on now. Check that out, Backstabber. We got Ghosts. That's a great song. And the last song for Rave X Volume 5 was just put up there a few days ago. We got, a couple of hits up there. Altogether, I think we got like 100 and something hits, which is really good. And the last song off of Rave X Volume 5 was just put up a few days ago. The Screaming Evil. Oh, it's good. You gotta listen to it. You hear that? That's the sun coming up. Oh, man. Hey, thanks for tuning in, man. My name is Rave X. And remember, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! I'm out of here.
That was the Rave X 10-minute podcast. Be sure to click like and subscribe. For new music and all things Rave X, go to youtube.com and search